What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Good morning. Are you ready? Are you ready? It's time to rise and shred. I am joined by he is looking dapper this morning. He's got the collared shirt on. He's got looks like a sweater vest, even something fun going on there. He's got you never know what Jacob's drinking, but he's always going to bring the fire. You know that's 100% sure. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to rise and shred. And gentlemen, good Monday morning. Welcome to the Rise and Shred Show. I'm hanging out with Jacob Gaffney as always. Guys, we bring this to you every single week. This is the one, the only daily diary of the mortgage industry. Right. I'm hanging out with Jacob. And Jacob, we got some fun things to talk about. But before we do, how was your weekend, brother? I love just chatting. That's what's fun about what you and I do is, life is personal. We're all about relationship. We love you and I are good friends outside of what we do. How was your weekend, man? Did you do anything fun this weekend?
Yeah, it was really good. My son had a top-ranked soccer tournament. They thought they made the final, so the last game they didn't give it their all. And the way the point system works is they fell just short of making it to the final. Oh, no. Very, very disappointing. But isn't that the lesson that you got to bring the A game all the time, every single game from whistle to whistle? You've got to bring it. They're just some of the best lessons are the hardest learned. And I hope he walked away a better person because of it. But
that's like a mic drop. We're done, ladies and gentlemen. There's your lesson for the day right there. Right? Let's just call it. We're going to call it. We're out. Dude, that's so cool though. But that's, because sometimes, especially in the world that we live in now, some parents would be like, oh, well, it's okay, buddy. Do better next time. But you do learn a lot from those mistakes that we make. Sometimes we learn more from those type of lessons throughout our life. The fact that it was just a soccer game and you can kind of lift yourself back up, and he's got a great, dad and mom like you and Nora, and great support system. That is such a cool life lesson, Jake. I appreciate you starting the show that way, man.
Right, no problem. I'll tell you, I got another story. Got off the plane in New York City, no job, no apartment, no money to my name, just a bunch of cash, right? Starting a new life. Okay. I was 22, 23. All right. Just took a plane to New York City. Okay. No one's heard this story. Sit next to a guy, seemed like a nice guy. He said, you want to split a cab? And I said, sure, that sounds smart. That sounds equitable. That sounds like a good deal. We got in the cab. I lived much closer to the airport. Where I was going was much closer than when he was going, but I didn't know. So we went to his place first, and I ended up spending more than I would have spent on just taking a cab by myself straight to my place. And I tell you what, I fumed that the first thing that happened, I got taken advantage of. The first thing off the plane. And I fumed and I said, okay, make that $80 lesson work for you. Don't you ever slip like that again. Don't you ever let anyone take advantage of you like that again. And Never. It was hard, man. I mean, I felt like a kid. But that was a valuable lesson. And that lesson's with me right now, Josh. It's with me right now, and I'm able to bring it up because I got it right there all the time.
I was going to say, but now right? Now you've learned. And that's just the thing about life is we have these lessons that in the moment we're so frustrated. And I am so guilty of this, probably more than most, that I get so frustrated and so upset. But then I look back and I'm like this story. I'm like, you know what? Great learning experience. And I probably learned more from that than I possibly could have anywhere else. So sometimes we pay for our education. The school of hard knocks, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes you just got to roll with them. Which is kind of interesting because, Jacob, that's kind of what we're talking about. There's some things that we're going to be talking about that today. We got a lot to dive into. There's some very interesting things. I say, where do you want to start this morning? You want to start CFPB? You want to talk about Ocwen? You want to talk about?
The big news was the acquisition that Ocwen made, which was crazy that they were able to make an acquisition. But one thing that didn't really get a whole lot of notice, right, was that Ocwen was actually in the middle of a battle with the CFPB. So we know that the CFPB has recently said they're going to be going after lenders, servicers who aren't, dealing with the CARES Act effectively with their borrowers, with their clients. And they said all that. But what no one is talking about is the CFPB has a sparring partner. And The sparring partner is like they're training with Mike Tyson. Okay, the CFPB is losing court cases to Ocwen because if you're going to lose a court case, you're going to lose a court case to Ocwen. Let's just be honest. And Ocwen has said, the CFPB appealed, and Ocwen's like, all right, go ahead. We like court. We're going to go back in court. Our lawyers love going in court. And I tell you what, man, someone who's covered Ocwen for a long, long time, they are gritty. They are tough. They are. Oof. And if they could figure out a way to win the appeal, if the CFPB can figure out a way to win the appeal against Ocwen, they are going to be a very, very prepared litigation system for when they plan. It's already, and we've already announced it. It's been all over Rise&Shred.
Yep.
The CFPB has said it. They're probing right now. They got a handful of probes. They are going to do this. They are going to do something to our industry, and this is just more proof that 100%. They are getting prepared for a very long, drawn out fight that is political. It's ideological. It's all the politicals. So get ready.
So here's my question in this, because when this first dropped, we have been talking a lot about this. The CFPB is preparing. They do have this incredible sparring partner, but does Ocwen start to give, I don't know if hope is the right word. Does it start to give people like, well, wait a second, because Ocwen, again, they're a huge entity. Mm-hmm. Do other smaller organizations be like, well, wait a minute, if Ocwen can take on the CFPB, does it give these smaller, like, hey, does it start to get people prepared? Does it start to put their gloves on, tying up the straps, saying, hey, I want to fight right there with them? Or, what's the generality of like the consensus of what other companies are thinking about this?
You cannot do what Ocwen does. You cannot be, look, they were the ones who perfected the Hamp blender, right? Where, you just have people refine every 6 months, just turn them. Right. Nothing happened to them then. We got, the attitude that Ocwen's always had, I could tell you we asked them for comment once, we sent an email to one of their executives and I remember the executive wrote back to my reporter. He said, off the record, ? No comment. And you can't, we weren't even swimming in the same lake as Ocwen. Wow. And we were the journalists. We were the ones supposed to be getting to the bottom of stuff.
Right.
So, they've been through recessions. They've been through that. They are not part of this, like, let's love everyone. Let's all get along. And we're going to talk about that old pervasive culture that continues to dog this industry. We could talk about that in a little bit, but that's not the way a lot of lender servicers are going now. They want their people to be in a great place. They want to be seen as a really giving, kind entity, and that does not really go with being sued. We've talked about that. It's going to be. I think it's going to be difficult to get new talent from the top all the way down to the bottom when you're in the middle of a very public dispute with the CFPB.
For sure.
And they're going to want to make it public. They're going to make it public. Why did you not hear about Ocwen's victory, Josh? Because the CFPB didn't say anything.
There you go.
Now, when the CFPB starts making wins, they're going to say it. They're going to go out. Their marketing machine is going to blanket everyone from our space to the Washington Post to the New York Times to everything. It's what we call headline risk.
Right.
And we're all looking down the barrel of it. Okay. Mark my words. That's going to happen.
It's coming. That's what you can expect. Well, the big things to come. You have to keep tuned in right here, Rise&Shred. We're going to continue to look. But that's good to know. That's why I asked the question, is because none of us are Ocwen. We can't compete in that field. We're not even in the same boat. So don't be getting any ideas, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be crazy. All right, let's go. Urban Institute. I'm excited about this story because we're all about diversity here. We love sharing stories like this. So let's chat about this a little bit, Jacob. Wait a minute. There it is. So diversity, this Urban Institute forecast that came out talking about Hispanic Latino Americans. Let's talk about this. I like this a lot. This is kind of exciting for me.
Yeah, well, check out the headline. Who will drive housing for the next decades? Okay. So the projection from the Urban Institute, and look, you got to read their stuff.
You do.
Okay, let's just say that, if you don't know Lori Goodman and her group and what she's brought down to the Urban Institute and how she's elevated everything they do. I mean, they were great before. And, that's another thing. Don't just go, oh, it's a nonprofit. They don't deal with me. I'm not in that space. No, you should always, always read the really good nonprofits put out just data driven. And it's so telling, their findings. It's so telling because they're saying that this demographic, Hispanics, they're going to need houses and their demand is going to skyrocket. And I know nobody wants to think about that right now because everybody's demand's through the roof right now. Okay. Right. But try to think past 2025. Okay. Who are you going to sell to in 2028, 2030? Okay. This goes all the way to 2040.
I say, okay? Yep.
Nearly 2 decades from now, this is your customer base. If you want to make money, if you want to do the right thing, this is your customer base. And you need to read this report because, look, if Walmart's going to start doing fintechs, you need to get on board and get an idea of how they're going to do it. Because if you scroll down, they mention things that the housing market isn't capable of providing to these. There they are right there.
There's it right here.
We can run through them real quick. I'll let everyone go. Okay, ways we fail the Hispanic market. Use of down payment assistance, all right? Access to mortgage credit. Increased supply of affordable housing. All right. These are all issues, problems that are totally solvable.
Absolutely.
It's probably going to happen. They're probably going to be solved because the current state of the Hispanic market, they're underemployed. That's changing. Okay. That's changing. We're seeing more and more Hispanic professionals. We're seeing more diversity, Josh. You're talking about having a female Hispanic executive on your show later this week or next week, right?
Absolutely.
They exist. They're out there and they're getting these great jobs. All right. So we have that. We have they're currently underbanked or unbanked, right? Yep. That's going to change too with the access of banking through mobile applications and fintechs replacing the big banks, right? Big banks are scary. Big banks are scary, right?
Absolutely.
So, and finally, the access to mortgage credit in time, comfort with lending to these markets, right? And I'm not talking about, well, I don't feel comfortable speaking Spanish and closing. Making them feel comfortable with you.
Bingo.
Not you feel, how can you be sure that you are going, the money is there for you to go and get?
Right.
Right. If you don't go and get it, someone else will. And this is a huge opportunity. It's an amazing projection. It's highly positive. It shows that there is a future for employment that caters to the Hispanic population, like 100%. Almost exclusively. This could be a whole new line of work for your lending business. It's there. And like I said, we do have a couple of, and we were talking earlier, let's name Hispanic CEOs, right? And still, it's a handful, but they are there. The RVLOs, boom. I mean, they're crushing it. They're crushing it.
Absolutely.
And this market is bigger than just one institution. So,
well, that's just the thing, Jacob, is sometimes in this industry, like especially in a year like 2020, when all of us had a banner year, we're not looking outside the box. We're not forward thinking. We're not thinking about the Hispanic market. That's why I think this report, that's why I think this study is so absolutely impactful. Everybody in our industry should be looking at this like, wow, like, okay, you know what? I am starting to plan for 2025, 2030. I know it's like, well, no, I'm in the here and now. I'm in the 2021. If you want your business to really exceed the test of time, you have to start looking at trends. You have to start looking at some of this data and some of these reports that can ultimately help you really see where trends are coming from and really look at an underserved population, an underserved market right now. And I'm not just saying this is an opportunity. I honestly believe, and this is coming from somebody, I can say, I speak Spanish. I served the Hispanic community here in Utah for years in the mortgage community, and they are underserved. This is something I am, that's why we were like, hey, we're talking about this. I'm passionate about this. I saw how they were mistreated by certain lenders. We won't get into names, but I was like, this is absolutely ridiculous. People being told that they can't qualify simply because there was this mindset or there was this stigmatism of Hispanics, of Latin Americans in our country. So I get all kinds of fired up about this one, Jacob.
The Urban Institute research is clear that this is an actual prejudice that is not reflected in any facts. It is just an actual prejudice. And hey, that guy who is in that lender that you're describing that got turned down, guess what? He's got kids. He's got 2, 3, maybe 4 kids, right? And all of them are carrying that rejection that lender gave them. And they're not going to want to go to that lender. They're not going to want to go to that retail shop, but they are holding their phones. They are searching, and they're going to come up to places that do serve them, places that are going to them in their language, in a way that's comfortable, because they can afford it. And the only thing that's holding this market back, and everyone who's listening, the only thing that's preventing you is you have some time, because the houses aren't built yet.
Bingo. There you go.
That's it. Once those houses are built, they're going to fly off the shelves. All right. And
it's coming.
And did you close the mortgage, or did someone else?
Ooh, I like it. Good question.
It's a good question.
That's one thing. Molly Dowdy, I love the comment here. I'm a huge fan of Lori Goodman and Urban Institute. I always watch her and speak and read her articles when I get the chance, 100%. And I agree. And that's just another example, an incredible woman supporting women of our industry, which I think we're going to kind of wrap things up today. Kind of talking about that, talking about an idea, talking about another mindset of this industry that I think that's, we're all about sharing hope. We're all about giving people what they deserve and really recognizing people for their extraordinary talents and abilities. And sometimes the women of our industry sometimes get the short end of the stick. Let's just be honest.
That's true. It's true. And it's just not fair. When you take a look at the great work of, when you see what Molly and Jerry have done, when you see 100%. When you see what Patty Arviello has done, what you see what Lori Goodman has done and all that. And I mean, they're visionaries, they're pioneers. And I don't think that it's fair that any segment of the mortgage market should have to deal with bullies. And it's still that old school. They're still there, the old guard. I'm not talking about replacing that old culture with cancel culture, Josh. Sure. But I mean, we've got to figure out a way to address the bullying, because I don't know about you, but I used to work in wine. I've worked in newsrooms and all that, but I've never seen bullies thrive so abundantly as they do in the mortgage market. And bullying takes up a lot of forms. It could take up legal bullying. We see a lot of that. I was talking to you about a recruiter I know who gets cease and desist from lenders on the daily. I mean, come on, he's a recruiter. What's he supposed to do? People can't go get better jobs. Right. It's like you're gonna send him a legal form. Just call him and ask him to stop doing it. He'll probably do it. He probably would. But no, you got to file. I mean, that's just bullying. And I hate to say it, but the sexual bullying is also very persuasive. And by sexual, I mean male bullying female. Absolutely. Predominantly in this industry, we see a lot of it. And that takes a lot of forms. It takes written forms. It takes spoken forms. You see it through email harassments. You see it through all sorts of things. I hate to close on such an open-ended topic, but I mean, we've got to figure out a way to address end of bullying in this industry.
Well, I think that's just and you and I are always trying to stay positive. That's what Rise&Shred is all about, bringing a slice of positivity to our industry, because there is a lot of discussion like this. But at the same time, that's what you and I are about, is having the discussions that nobody else is willing to have, highlighting, talking about the things that sometimes, again, they want to skirt the issue. They don't want to directly take it on head on, because it's an uncomfortable situation. It's an uncomfortable topic. But again, it needs to be discussed. It needs to be out there so people do understand it, and it's actually being addressed. So that's
the worst thing about it, Josh, and what's the tragedy is that it's an uncomfortable topic just for the victims.
Bingo.
Just for the targets.
Yep.
The bullies, they love it. They live off of it.
They thrive.
It's given them their career.
Yep. We need to change it. And that's why we're even bringing it up today. And again, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing our best to stay agnostic, Switzerland, if you will, but at the same time, we want to share hope. We want to bring some hope to everybody's life. This industry has been forged on certain ideals, certain people, if you will, and now there's a change that's coming. Mm-hmm. And Jacob and I we're discussing. We're leading the way. We want to help be part of that change and the new mindset that is evolving this industry. There we go.
You've got a friend right here. That's what I say. You feel isolated. You feel like attacked. You feel someone's going after you unfairly. Hey, Josh and Jacob, we're here for you.
We absolutely are. That's a positive note. You always have somebody that's got your back. Jacob and myself here at Rise&Shred, we have your back. We want to see you thrive. We want to see you succeed. With that, ladies and gentlemen, the always entertaining, the extremely knowledgeable, the incredibly talented Mr. Jacob Gaffney with Gaffney Austin. Thanks you so much for your time as always. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have not had the opportunity, make sure you click the button below. Subscribe to Rise&Shred. It's the #1 and only daily diary of the mortgage industry, and you can get it in your inbox every single day. And then you can join Jacob and myself every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 10 a.m. Central. Make sure you join us. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you. We love you. Now it's time for all of you to go shred. Go have a great week, people. Show up, hustle, repeat every day. See ya. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you again so much for joining us for today's show. If you like the content, make sure you hit that like button below. And if you already haven't subscribed to our channel, click right over here and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to see our latest video, click over here. And again, if you want to see the best of daily content within the mortgage and real estate industries, you have to subscribe now. We look forward to having you shred with us every single day.